Unmute all. Very good. At this time, I'd like to ask Derek Allen, he's pastor of the Bearing Cross Baptist Church, to please come up and do our prayer.
If you would, bow with me. Father God, we thank you for another day. What a beautiful day. And we thank you for the opportunity you've given us to live and move and have our being in it. God, I asked tonight that you would join us in this room. Father, thank you for the leadership that you put in place for this city. And I pray that you would continue to lead them and guide them, give them clarity and vision for the future. And God, I ask above all that this hour, this time that you've given us in this room, that we would treat each other with the honor and respect that they deserve, and that you would be glorified as we conduct the work that you called us to do. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Here.
Harmon.
Here.
Lilly.
Here.
Sanders.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Broderick. Thomas.
Present.
Wade.
Here.
You have we need approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on April 22nd, 2024. Is there any changes? If not, may I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lilly and a second by Councilmember Sanders. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks. Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
You have received the April 2024 financials. Any comments, questions? If there being none, we would like to please have Jananne Swindle. If you could come and stand before the council, please. In the middle, thank you. Tonight, I'd like to take a few minutes, and you can turn around and face them so that they can all see your beautiful face. A few minutes to recognize the remarkable career of Jananne Swindle. She has dedicated over 29 years to the Central Arkansas Library System, starting as a children's programmer and rising to branch manager. She has been a pillar of our community, shaping young minds and fostering a love of reading. Her optimism, organization, and boundless energy have been invaluable, especially during challenging times like COVID and also during the tornado. Her innovative solutions and unwavering support for our community have made a lasting impact. She has not only touched the lives of countless children, but also played a pivotal role in securing a new modern library for Sherwood. Her legacy of dedication, compassion, and advocacy will resonate for generations. She will embark on a very well-deserved retirement, and we extend our deepest gratitude and best wishes. Thank you for your incredible service and for making Sherwood a better place. We will miss seeing her all the time at the library, but I know she'll be there often, and trust me, we'll find other ways for you to serve the community. And I have a special gift for you. Please add this to your collection, yes, of plaques and different commemorative things that you have received. And truly thank you on behalf of the council and myself.
Hey, Jananne.
Next, we have a recognition of a very special student. She graduated last year, and during the time, we just had a lot going on with a tornado and then graduation, and then she was off at college. And so we finally got her back here in order to recognize her. But you all may have remembered on social media, we highlighted her artwork and told everybody to make sure they voted for her. But before I do special recognition, I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to just kind of say a few things about Mackenzie, Mickey Young, but I'm going to ask her to come forward. And would you bring Pawpaw with you? Pawpaw may not know he's coming with her, but Pawpaw said, she told me Pawpaw would do what she asks. And if you don't know Pawpaw, he is Ray Snyder, a retired Sherwood Police Department. How are you doing? You'll get me later. Okay. I just want to say a couple of things about Mickey and what's happened here. She loves art. Her whole idea is to make art. I even met with her today to just kind of get some of these points because I think you need to. She wants to do studio art. And with her today is also Mama Donna, Brother Eli, and Daddy Eddie, and the Young family is out there. But the thing that was kind of fun is I said, what made you do this? And she talked about Miss Tammy Dillon. Will you stand up? Art teacher she had for 2 years from Sylvan Hills High School, Miss Neil Ann Brown Verdell, who's retiring, and Tammy's retiring in this year. So these are teachers and Mr. Green at the high school who have impacted her a great deal. But one of the teachers said, you need to submit this to the 2nd Congressional District. And so they reached out to me, and when I met our Rotary meeting, and Miss Reagan Sharp is here from French Hill's office with the 2nd Congressional District. Last year, over 50 young people from this district applied, and Mickey's art piece was selected. Cameron, would you show that piece of art? And Ray, I did ask, did you sit and pose for this picture? And she said, no, she took a picture of you on her phone and then did it. So this is, look at this. This is her painting of Grandpa's hands. And it won and has been displayed in the tunnel in Washington, D.C. for these last 12 months. And so, in talking to French Hill's office in the 2nd Congressional District, they can't remember that Sherwood's ever won before. And they also thought it was kind of cool that we were going to have you here tonight, and that's why Ms. Reagan Sharp wanted to be here to kind of meet with you and see that there's a whole bunch of people in Sherwood that have impacted and helped influence this one. But Ms. Donna, I must tell you that she sure brags about your artwork. She says she got it from her mom and grandma, who actually were the artists. So we have a little something from the mayor, and I want to also give you a challenge coin from the city that we used to give. And this is because you made Sherwood proud and recognized you. So, little bag, you can have that, young lady. Okay. You're welcome.
And when Councilmember Williams and I spoke about this, often athletes get lots of recognition. Yep. It's not often that our artists, that we really get to highlight them. So, art teachers, if you all please come up here as well.
Go Tammy. The other art teacher, Neil Ann Brown, is on her way to Alaska today. She apologized she could not be here.
So we have for you a certificate of recognition, whereas today we recognize Mackenzie Mickey Young for her numerous artistic accomplishments in 2023, winning first place in the Congressional Art Competition for Arkansas District 2 for Papa's Hands, which was inspired by the hands of her grandfather, retired Sherwood police officer Ray Snyder, and whereas Mickey was accepted into the AMFA's Young Arkansas Artists Exhibition 3 years in a row, with multiple pieces of her artwork placing very high every year. And now therefore I, Mayor Mary Jo High-Townsend, Mayor of Sherwood, Arkansas, and those of our city council extend our full congratulations in hopes for continued success in your future endeavors on this day, May 20, 2024. Congratulations.
she was quoted about it, because right there talking about it, she said, people always want to tell a story with your artwork. I'm reading what you said. So they look at people's faces. She said, they tell you one thing about their lives, but their hands tell you the work they did. And they are both the tools that we use to explore the world. So your world is right there, and that's gorgeous, young lady.
It's beautiful.
And Summerly, you must be treasured.
But thank you, Paul, for posing.
Awesome.
Good to see you, Ryan.
Thanks, Jack. Ray, now you know why you're here.
Reagan, thank you for being here very much.
All right, we had a ordinance that did not make it in time, and it's important that we go ahead and get this on the agenda. It's an ordinance approving the amendment and restatement of the City of Sherwood's 457B retirement plan. You all should have received a copy of it. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to be made to suspend the rules to go ahead and put it on, and we will address this first on our agenda. So I'll need someone to suspend the rules.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Wade. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
We also, in the title, it doesn't have emergency clause. So I'm going to ask that I'm going to read it, but I'm going to ask that we amend it for a friendly amendment to add emergency clause to the end of it. So we have an ordinance approving the amendment and restatement of the City of Sherwood 457B retirement plan for recent regulatory and legislative changes and to incorporate the various separate amendments adopted by the City of Sherwood over the years into one 457B plan document. And I'll ask for a friendly amendment at this time.
Can you explain why it needs to be done and why it needs to be immediately?
Mr. Graff and Jill are here. They can address that because we've got some
We're
people
actually calling, yes.
are calling. Yeah, come on.
Appreciate it, everybody. For me, this is, I mentioned to Jill, like old times. In another life, I was the mayor of Kamek Village. So to be here at a city council meeting, it's kind of neat. But as to your 457B plan, kind of a little bit of the history behind it. As y'all know, you used to have this defined benefit pension plan, and we froze that over a decade ago. And when we did that, we came back in with what's referred to as a 457B plan, which is similar to, in the for-profit side of things, a 401k plan. And so we initially had the plan document, and then over the years, there have been a number of different amendments to it. One to add a loan feature, another to add what's called an unforeseeable emergency distributable event. There's been a couple other minor amendments as well. And then with that, then there's been several legislative changes from both the Secure Act in late 2019 and then kind of what everybody refers to as far as benefit nerds go as the Secure 2.0 Act, which added a bunch more changes. And so with all that, rather than having half a dozen different documents to kind of look to see what the rules are, we felt like it was in the best interest of the city to go ahead and get all this into one document, have it be concise, and that's what's referred to in benefits lingo as a quote-unquote amendment and restatement of an existing plan document. As mentioned in the ordinance, a couple of the very beneficial changes are, one, it kind of clarifies some other events that would constitute an unforeseeable emergency situation, which would include things such as medical expenses and funeral expenses, which when the original document was prepared, that was not present as far as guidance. And then, frankly, the biggest change is one that came from the Secure Act in late 2019. Again, over on the for-profit side with the 401K plan, there's a rule that says that when one hits 59 and a half, even if they're still working, if they want to get access to these funds, they can go ahead and get a distribution from their 401K plan and receive that. And it's not subject to a 10% penalty tax, it's just subject to ordinary income taxes. Unfortunately, there wasn't a like provision in the 457B plan arena, and then the Secure Act came along and said, you know, we're gonna add this feature. And I know there've been a couple people here at the city that have wanted to see that in place, and frankly, it's a very good provision. It's one that, as I mentioned, for all for-profit 401K plans, more times than not, that provision's in there. And for a lot of my 457B plans, it's in there. So this amendment and restatement includes that so that people that are still working here at the city, if they wanted access to their funds and they're over 59 and a half or older, they can get to it. Those are really the only really big changes, I'd say. I'm certainly open, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to
I guess, a
address that.
question I have, the document backdates all these changes to January 1, 2024, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I was just curious why we needed the emergency clause that makes it effective immediately.
My understanding is that there's a couple guys that are currently employed that are wanting a distribution, and
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, the required, over here,
Yes.
the required minimum distribution part is at 73. Is in the tax law, does it not continue to go up, or is 73 now the max?
Yeah, so the RMD rules, required minimum distribution rules, what they say is that at a certain date, even if you've got to start taking distributions from a retirement plan, unless you continue to work. And so one of the exceptions is if someone works past 73, they're not required to take a distribution. But way back, once upon a time, the law was, that age was 70 and a half.
It gradually went up, yeah.
And then the Secure Act bumped it up to 72. And then the Secure 2.0 Act, now it's 73. And ultimately, during the first part of the 2030, somewhere in there, it's actually going to go up to 75. There's some technical verbiage where Congress kind of mangled some of the language, but ultimately that's going to be fixed and people will be looking at 75, come 2032, 33, somewhere.
Then does that part under that last whereas before section 1 need to, because it has it as our RMD is 73, do it need to parenthetically to say or whatever the federal law is at that time?
No, I mean, this
Okay.
is fine, because what we're going to also do is, at some point between now and the end of the decade, believe it or not, there's going to be a lot of other technical changes, and there will be some suggested language that comes out. And with that, what's called a good faith amendment, that's where that 75 will come in. Right now, the law is 73, and it's going to be that way for the next 8 to 9 years.
Okay.
Basically. Couple good questions. Any more?
I'll make a motion that we add the emergency clause to the title. I see it's already in the body, so that we add emergency clause to the title of the ordinance.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by
There's a lizard crawling across the floor.
Councilmember Thomas. Oh, don't hurt it.
Don't kill it. Don't kill it, Dawn.
Roll call, please.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Okay. So we have an ordinance approving the amendment and restatement of the City of Sherwood 457B retirement plan for the recent regulatory and legislative changes and to incorporate the various separate amendments adopted by the City of Sherwood over the years into one 457B plan with an emergency clause. That's the first reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on second reading as amended.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Sanders. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
An ordinance approving the amendment and restatement of the City of Sherwood 457B retirement plan for recent regulatory and legislative changes and to incorporate the various separate amendments adopted by the City of Sherwood over the years into one 457B plan with an emergency clause. That's the second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on third and final reading as amended. Second.
Well, we have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Thomas.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
An ordinance approving the amendment and restatement of the City of Sherwood 457B retirement plan for recent regulatory and legislative changes and to incorporate the various separate amendments adopted by the City of Sherwood over the years into one 457B plan with an emergency clause.
Charlotte, I
Move for
want
the
to make sure
adoption.
we read that 3 times, right?
We did, yes.
Okay.
Move for the adoption.
Motion by Councilmember Lilly,
Second.
second by Councilmember Wade. Roll call.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And we have an emergency clause.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
The motion passes 7 yes, 1 absent.
All right, moving on, we've got committees, thank you, committees and commissions. First up, we have Advertising and Promotion Commission, Councilmember Brooks.
All right, let me see if I can wade through this. All right, we did meet. The unapproved minutes are in the packet. There's one small correction on there. Ms. Williams did call me to say that she's not listed as attending the meeting, and she did. And that she was not listed in the, she was not listed as attending the meeting. So that would be the only correction that I'm aware of, because they're unapproved minutes. So until the members meet to approve the minutes, that's the only a correction I would know of. A lot of our meeting was concerning the Trail of Lights, and I think if everybody's read that, they know what that's about. The displays are still up, and if anyone has any questions on that, I'll entertain those questions.
Why are they still up? I think I've had a few people ask me why.
Okay.
That's the reason I attended the meeting, because I had two people say, no, they're
Let me
not.
just-
They're always down. So
Yeah, they're always.
Let me just ask that the Parks Department, that was a news to me also, and I'll ask one of the staff of the Parks Department to come up to explain that. So I'm not going to speak for them.
Blake, do the short straw.
There's several reasons they are still up. Weather was rough. Time for the staff to take them down, a month to take them down, 2 months to put them up. They are rated for outside. So we got together and decided, as we're pushing other projects down the road, we needed 90 days to get into Joey's and do other things with our staff there. We needed to get that updated within 90 days. We made the decision to leave them up this year. they are ready for outside use, so, the only thing we didn't do was communicate efficiently with A&P, and we let them know that we'll do that differently next time, so.
We did get a statement both from the people who sell them as well as the manufacturers, that they are designed to withstand all elements, that it would not hurt them. We do have an insurance policy of just under $1.4 million that the city does indeed pay for. We did find out that every time that they are handled, light bulbs find out and damage occurs. So it's kind of, you're betwixt and between, in that ideally, we don't like them always being up all the time, through the whole summer and so forth, but it's kind of like furniture. When you move it around a whole lot, damage happens. So it's, there really wasn't anything in terms of that it's going to, hurt the longevity or hurt them. All the electrical cords, everything have been put away in terms of that. They get checked on a regular basis, weekly. The gates are locked at night. They're open back up in the morning. During the trail of lights, during the time in which it takes to put them up, the gates are open. People have access to it. So there's really no big difference in terms of that. It's just we had a really wet January and the equipment gets stuck in the mud, and then we've had problems where it has actually destroyed the conduits, and then we've had to get all that repaired, and it just, by the time things got to a place in which we could actually take them down, we were well into other seasons, and it just didn't work out this year.
Well,
Not that this is the
I think
plan every
everybody
year going forward,
Also knows
but
we have lofty goals of what we want to accomplish in Parks and Rec each year. And to lose a month of manpower at that time did not make a lot of sense to what we need to get done this year too, so.
And it's not much more than a month of manpower. The fact that they're already up.
That's on the front end, correct.
Yeah, at the fact that they're already up, and it typically takes 2 months of, and I mean, Parks for years has shut down for 2 months to put them up and a month to take them down. And there's been a 3-month period that Parks has not been able to do basically anything else but work on the Trail of Lights.
Correct.
And so we gain those 2 months at the end of the year, as well as that month at the beginning of the year, that Parks will be able to work on other projects now, other than the Trail of Lights, if we can maintain, if it works to keep the displays up.
And that 1.4 that we pay for, that, just to have it on record, that's for every display, not just what the city has bought or Parks and Rec.
oh no, that's the entire,
That's
so
the entire- that's-
it doesn't matter who buys them. The city owns them
Yep.
once they are purchased.
Yeah.
So
They're
it
gifted.
covers all of
Yes.
it. We were asked by a commissioner to do an analysis on the actual cost of Trail of Lights. I'm not going to put you all through that right now. We'll present that at the next A&P meeting. I think it'll be very eye-opening. And then, it can be, discussed next month. But that's basically, why, you asked why it happened, that's why it happened, so.
So the vendor and the manufacturer both concurred, I mean.
Yes, ma'am. We have
are they-
statements from
And they know
both of
about
them.
southern heat, and I just don't,
They're out of,
They're out of Louisiana, aren't they, Diana?
It's an M word. I mean, I feel, having the vendor and manufacturer confer that it's okay and having them insured, I think I can now share that to the people that called me, because I actually told them, I said, no, you're crazy. No, that's not true.
Well, some of it, even goes into depreciation that we didn't even want to mention and all the stuff. As soon as we buy them, the value goes down. But like I said, we got it's.
we are more than
We got a lot
covered
of reasons to leave them up
insurance-wise.
this year, and we're,
Okay.
comfortable with that, so.
Any other questions?
All right, our next meeting will not be till August because we do not meet in July ever, never, ever. And that is not, it's not.
What
on
about
the-
June?
What about June? June's next.
Oh, June's next, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just in May, aren't we?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I've got allergies and it's really messing with me tonight. I'm sorry, I apologize. We will meet in June, and it will be the first Wednesday in June. We'll meet right here, and if anyone's interested in more Trail of Lights information, you can show up here at 4 o'clock and get information on that.
First Wednesday, right?
First Wednesday at 4 o'clock, right here.
All right, thank you. Moving on, we've got Parks and Recreation, Councilmember Harmon.
Parks and Rec met on May 13th. I wasn't able to be at the meeting, but Councilmember Sanders handled the meeting, ran the meeting for me. I appreciate that. I did read the 4 pages of minutes that resulted from single-spaced 4 pages of minutes that resulted from the meeting. Every now and then, there's a good meeting to
We
miss.
just got them like 5 minutes before we
Yeah,
got here.
yeah.
When did you get
Oh,
them?
I've not seen them.
I got them today, too, yeah.
He's a fast reader.
But I got them more than 5 minutes before we got here. I got them in time to read them at least. They're unapproved. The biggest topic of discussion, I think, appears at the meeting was the fall program agreements and the agreement with between SHAC and the city, which for the I guess this is the fall program agreement that has been signed already. And, but there was a lot of discussion over those agreements and how they're negotiated. And just to let you know how much discussion there was, after 2 pages typed, Diana gave up, and there's a line here all by itself that says, "There was much more discussion."
Did you
She
quit,
apparently
Diana?
got tired of typing.
She is really very good at taking minutes, so she must have really got frustrated.
Yeah, she got frustrated. So anyway, if you have any questions regarding that, I would direct them to Mike, to Councilmember Sanders about that meeting or anything that went on at that meeting. Our next meeting would be the second, when do we meet? The second Monday? Second Monday at 6 o'clock here in the council chambers. We do have an ordinance. Is it an ordinance?
Yes, sir.
It is.
Yeah, it's an ordinance regarding the naming of a park. Now, I'm going to tell you, this ordinance was requested by a council member, but this is the naming of a park, and we're not naming it after anybody. Now, this will be the first time that the council has been involved in the naming of a park that isn't being named after somebody. Previously, when a park is simply being named geographically, like Thornhill Park or,
Fairway.
whatever, Fairway Park or, Del Mar Park or whatever, then it's simply named by the city and the Parks Committee, because it's simply a geographic name, and that's what this is, naming this park here City Hall Park. But it was asked that it be brought before the city council, so we're bringing it before the city council for approval to name the park here that's being built all around the City Hall complex, City Hall Park. So, and the discussion at the Parks Committee was simply that it's the most logical name for it, because we like to name our parks in a way that helps people find them. That's the most logical name to help people locate the park. So if you would, the ordinance for that.
An ordinance designating the area of the City Hall complex as the City Hall Park.
I'd like to do a friendly amendment, if I could, on one of your whereases of section 1.
Okay, let me get to it. What is it?
You were listing the property would include all these things, and we all know his name is Walt Barnhart, but I think it's called Walter Barnhart, so I would like to go ahead and put that ordinance, change his name to his full name, which is, I had some constituents that know him well that actually reached out to me, and Miss Charlotte helped me find an ordinance from 1997 where that section over there,
Okay.
on the other side of the fishing pond, is named the Walter Barnhart Park.
Okay.
And if we're going to list it, then let's name it with his full name as.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to change Walt to Walter in section 1 by Councilmember Harmon. Do we have a second?
Oh, she made the motion.
I made
I
the
seconded it.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Williams, I'm sorry.
I second.
And
I don't
seconded
have
by
whiskers.
Councilmember Harmon.
No whiskers here.
All right, so are we going, we're going to vote on this and then we can have discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so are we saying we're taking the names of all these, so are you saying you're taking the Walter Barnhart Park away, or?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the
Okay.
reason I'm asking this is because I don't see, I was reading this and it said, I was reading the minutes just now, and it said Thornhill Park was never officially named Thornhill Park. So today, because I thought it was officially named Thornhill Park, so that's why I asked Diana to bring me some city calendars. I was trying to find the parks on there, but I did find an old map that had the names of the parks on there, and one of the names of the parks was Thornhill Park.
Sure. So it was never.
So that's why I want
Yeah.
to make sure if we need to put in there Thornhill Park also, because not anything to do with the Walt thing, but the Thornhill Park, if we need to put Thornhill Park in there.
So the only thing that was ever named, I made several calls doing research trying to, because there was nothing, there was no resolutions or ordinances when it came to Thornhill at all. But I did find out that it was originally just Thornhill Pool, and over time, it just kind of, because originally it was a standalone pool, there really was no park, and then we don't know when, we don't know how, it just kind of morphed into Thornhill Park.
Okay.
But that's why we put Thornhill Pool in there.
Okay, I just want to
not
make sure it
Thornhill
was
Park.
correct, so.
Yes, ma'am. And, and part of doing this is that, kind of like you have the Sherwood Sports Complex. And within the complex, you have sports
We have fields
that are
individually
named after different people. And so this is not excluding anything like that. It's just, it gives an overall name and an easy location in which you can put in a name, and immediately, if you put in Sherwood City Hall, it pops up an address, shows you where to go.
No, and I
So-
understand that. Like I said, I
Yes,
just want to
ma'am.
make sure that that we're not leaving something out, that Thornhill Park was never officially named
Yes.
Thornhill Park.
We don't have anything that indicates it was.
You need to
Okay.
start over because we did the amendment.
Okay.
And, it might, talking about that, and something I thought when I read this ordinance, when I got my packet was, and I only, I was out of town all last week, and I didn't get to read this or talk to anybody about it till today. The City Hall Park with Walt Barnhart Park in it, maybe, and we call this City Hall Complex anyway. Maybe it should be City Hall Park Complex or City Hall.
I like that better,
City
like
Hall
sports
Park
complex.
Because we've got the sports complex, but you've got City Hall Park with another park in it. It sounds odd.
Park.
Well, it's my understanding that and Councilmember Brooks could probably give you a better history on the Walt Barnhart Park section, which was meant to be relatively small when I called and asked her about it. We're just trying to keep things as simplified as possible when it comes to thinking about signage and those type of things. That's why we just did City Hall Park, to keep it simple. At some point, you could have a pickleball court named after somebody or whatever,
I understand, but I guess what I'm saying is this seems to be developing into more than any of our other parks. It's more than just a playground. It's more, it's.
got a
So we're
pool,
gonna have the
pickleball,
inclusive
fishing.
playground.
Yeah, and we have concerts here and everything else. It's almost like it needs to say something more than just park, because we do more than just swing here or swim here.
I like your suggestion, Charlie.
And
I
I
think-
don't know what exactly, but maybe somebody can help me with the name, but I just, and there may not be anything better than the word park, but it seems like we do more here.
What were you saying? Right
I
here?
said City
My
Hall Park
ears-
Complex.
My ears are clogged up.
City Hall Park Complex or City Hall, City Hall Entertainment Complex, City Hall, I don't know, City Hall something.
I would just keep it simplified as much as you can, whether it's complex. I don't think I'd get into entertainment.
Close to us is Burns Park.
And they do all that stuff.
That's
there.
true.
They do a
Good
lot
point.
there. A lot further away and much larger is Central Park.
Where's that? I've been there.
And there are lots of parks
get
within
where-
Burns Park, so
Right,
you are
I mean,
correct,
I
yeah.
get what you're saying, but
You're
I mean,
right.
I think,
You're right.
park is very fitting.
You're right, okay. We'll just stick with City Hall Park. It just seems like we do so much more. I just was comparing it to our other parks. Okay, well, I'll withdraw that then.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to start over with, and since it's been amended.
All right. We have an ordinance designating the area of the City Hall complex as City Hall Park as amended. That is the first reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lilly and a second by Councilmember Sanders. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
An ordinance designating the area of the City Hall complex as a City Hall Park as amended. Second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on third and final reading.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Lilly and a second by Councilmember Wade. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
An ordinance designating the area of the City Hall complex as a City Hall Park as amended. That was the third and final reading.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
We have a movement for adoption by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Sanders. Roll call.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
The motion to adopt passes with 7 yes and Councilmember Broderick absent.
Thank you. Next up, under Planning Commission, we have an ordinance amending certain provisions of the fence section of the zoning code and for other purposes.
Good evening, Shelby Smith, II, City Planner. So this ordinance before you this evening is a very simplistic request to amend a portion of the zoning code. It's section 141002, which is a switch to incorporate enforcement officer rather than city engineer. Seeing as we work with a consultant right now, it would be more so it's an administrative function and would allow productivity and issuing permits quickly. With that, Planning Commission recommended approval of the amendment.
Question.
Yes.
Are you that enforcement officer?
Yes, and that is, so it is defined within the zoning code, and I have it pulled up, I can read it.
Okay.
But we do have a definition in place.
When I first read it and read
Yes.
it, I went immediately to code enforcement thinking that.
It would
So-
be someone within the permits and planning department, whoever reviews that permit application, but it would follow the same process that's already delineated within this section of the code. It just changes who the enforcement officer essentially is.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Harmon, second by Councilmember Brooks. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
An ordinance amending certain provisions of the fence section of the zoning code and for other purposes. Second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on third and final reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Brooks. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending certain provisions of the fence section of the zoning code and for other purposes.
Move for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Brooks and a second by Councilmember Sanders.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Street Committee, Councilmember Lilly.
We did meet the unapproved minutes, or should be in everyone's packet, and we do have a couple of resolutions here for the council this evening.
First up, we have a resolution expressing the willingness of the city of Sherwood to utilize federal aid transportation alternative programs on recreational trails program funds. This is an RDOT grant that's administrated through Metro Plan. I had Finley and Bear Davidson, they both looked over to figure out So if we want to be successful at getting grants, you look at how grants are scored, and you kind of figure out how to build them. And they felt that this particular grant would give us the best opportunity in which to be able to win this grant. This is one of the more competitive grants, but they do feel like, this application would give us a better chance at it. The total estimated cost of the project they're looking at is $508,616.25. So the city part would be $101,723.25, with the grant portion being the $406,893. So it would save us quite a bit of money with the 80-20 split.
So you're talking about 107,000 for the trails?
I'm sorry.
It's a pedestrian trail?
It's a sidewalk.
Okay.
Yes, it would be a sidewalk connecting from where it currently ends on Shoshone, going across the breezeway, going all the way to Oneida, which would then connect onto the regional bike
Well,
ped.
we've already been talking about this, haven't we?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
For a long time, so.
Yeah.
Are we, Mr. Lilly, are we still doing at the street committee those rubrics, scoring what sidewalks have the priority for the city?
If sidewalks are brought to us, yes, that's still an active program. This was brought as a, as a TAP
I understand that.
grant, and, certainly, with it connecting the trails that are in place and what have you, seemed to be a good idea. But this was not brought and evaluated under the rubric, though.
I had the engineers, basically. So you need something that's already engineered. So we had already discussed, with the budget, we had this one engineered and then Seminole engineered. Because of the, how could I put this? We would not have a very good chance of getting Seminole because of the average income level of that neighborhood versus in Indian
That's a
Head.
criteria in the grant?
Yes, ma'am, that is a part of it. That is one of the things that they look at. And then also, because of the fact that this connects to a regional trail, also bumped it up as well. So this was also going to be not as expensive as one to build as Seminole, so. But I did have them fully evaluate it. They're the two professionals and doing it in an unbiased manner, and they know more than a layperson would.
But Seminole's still out there, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
ma'am, it has already been engineered, yes.
Okay.
It's just for this particular grant,
For
it
the
would
grant,
not,
right.
it probably would not qualify.
I just don't, I remember having that pecking order of which ones we would do first, second, third, fourth. And, we had some,
Based on that scoring we've
Here
done.
comes Brian.
and we had some conflict sometimes when something got booted in front of it because people were thinking we weren't caring about their neighborhood, that sort of thing. Am I misspeaking on that, Mr. Lilly?
I would consider this one kind of a continuation of what's there. Right now, they dead end at Houston, and, it was always intended for it to continue. We've kind of got a partially completed sidewalk project in Indian Head. I just thought I might add that.
Thank you. You always add things.
We do know that, and once again, that's why Seminole has already been engineered, is because we do know that that is one that definitely needs to be looked at. So we do have a list in which we look at, and that's where these came from, so.
Okay.
Move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion for adoption from Councilmember Harmon and a second from Councilmember Lilly.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
The motion passes 70 yes, Councilmember Broderick absent.
Next up, we have a resolution amending Resolution 9-2024 to reallocate funds to allow additional lighting on Brockington Road and for other purposes. Basically, the explanation of this is Laramie ended up coming in well under budget, which is a great thing, and we've been talking about, we've had a budget line for expanding the lighting on Brockington Road, because as we all know, we have places where they're 400 feet apart with no lights. So we have a major road with big pools of darkness, which is never a good thing. And so basically, the amount that we've had for the past 2 years allotted in it, it just ended up not being enough. So what we're asking is that we move some of the money, not all, but some of the money that we need from the street fund drainage, which is that 71004, over to street fund non-capital equipment, which is 78800, for the purposes of doing this lighting. And this is First Electric's portion. These are LED lights, and this is from approximately Sherwood North, the beginning of kind of that Sherwood North neighborhood, and what is the street on the other side? Teague, yes, all the way to 107, so it would take care of all of that. Any questions?
And this is the $12,000, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yeah.
then we have a
We already-
monthly fee that we have to add on top of that, so it needs to go into the budget, as I understand, for future?
So
The-
one thing you're looking at here too is that the existing lights will be changed, they'll become LED, much more efficient. I don't
Understand.
know exactly what the bill would be, but I wouldn't think there would be a large increase in cost there.
So more lights, but more efficient lights.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, the additional fee with all of the additional lights that will be added, it's just a little over $300 a month.
300 a month,
Yeah, it won't
not
disrupt that.
3,000 a month.
No, ma'am,
No.
and it will not disrupt the
Somehow-
budget, so.
Okay.
About $300 a month,
Somehow I wrote 3,000, that's why.
yeah.
We have a resolution before you. Is there-
Move for the adoption?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lilly and a second by Councilmember Sanders. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade. Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders. The motion passes 7 yes, Councilmember Broderick absent.
Next up, we
Wait,
have,
while Brian's up there, Brian. I've been asked by residents when the mosquito trucks are going to start.
Tonight.
Tonight?
What?
Tonight.
What was your question, Ms. Brooks?
when are the mosquito trucks
Oh.
starting their journey around the city, and it begins tonight. Wastewater Committee, we have before you a resolution approving a sewer capital project, South Claremont location.
Yes, we have they got 4 houses in that area that their service lines goes on other people's property. And usually, typically what we do is when it becomes a problem, a lot of times we don't know till they have a failure because we don't keep up with any of that because that's private lines. But when we have a failure and the neighbor finds out, "Well, I want it out of my yard," and we typically will just provide them a new tap. Problem is, there's nowhere to tap in at. So we're, have to extend the main about 250 feet to cover these 4 houses. One right now is a definitely, and we need to do it, but we've got 3 potential, which in a matter of time, if they have a failure, their neighbor probably going to start complaining. So we're going to have to provide them a tap so they could be able to tap on, and we can eliminate 4 problems with this one project. And we got the money in the budget, and I just need, I guess, approval to use that money from the capital. So-
Ms. Brooks and I both have gone to, I think we've been called to those homes that had the sewer coming up in their backyard. It wasn't theirs, it was the neighbor's, so.
Right. We've been working this problem for about a year.
Yep.
You know, we had to get it engineered and all that. It's ready to go. We've already bid it out, $107,000. We've got a contractor. We just need it okay so we can just proceed on and have it constructed.
And just so you know, part of the cost is a result because we've got utilities, gas line, and so forth that we're having to work
Right.
around, which
And that's the
made
reason
it
why
more
it took so long,
expensive.
because the health department, we got some issues with the health department because there's a water main going through there. and we had to go around it and all that. But we got all that worked out, and we're ready to go, so.
I'd move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Williams and a second by Councilmember Brooks. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
The motion passes 7 yes, Councilmember Broderick absent.
Next up, we have a resolution by the City of Sherwood to partner with the City of North Little Rock wastewater to replace existing equipment in the 5 Mile Creek Basin, establishing conditions for the City of Sherwood's involvement in the partnership and for other purposes. And this is for the interceptor lines, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
In particular, 24-inch or larger. And North Little Rock is heading this project up because they're doing theirs from the other basins. The 5 Mile Creek is what we call it a satellite system. It's a shared system between North Little Rock and Sherwood, where we have Sherwood customers on that basin. And we own 52% of the interceptors of the footage, and North Little Rock had the 47. And this project's going to take approximately about 3 years. And Sherwood's part is going to be around $4.8 million over the next 3 years. And we've already looking at different ways to finance this for the next 3 years. But right now, North Little Rock is just wanting a formal agreement saying, yes, we will partner with them. And, because they're going to start construction in next year. Next month, what their timeline is, they're going to apply for all the permits for the different environmental agencies, like ADQ, health department, get all the permits and approvals. And once they get that in, they're going to bid it out February of next year. And in by May, have the contractor picked, selected. And then by June of next year, they want to start the construction, because we're going to do this construction from June to November to the driest months. So that's why we're stretching that for 3 years. Now all of that is it's going to be about 2 years for Sherwood side and probably a year on their side, So, but we're North Little Rock is basically heading out is taking charge of this project because they got the engineering, and we're going to get invoiced by North Little Rock for this. And because if we do it separately, it would end up having a duplicate cost. It end up costing them more, costing us more. We have 2 different contractors. It just makes more sense to have it done as one project and just have it and just be able to work with North Little Rock with this.
I think I understand and agree that it makes more sense to do it as one combined project, but the ordinance or the resolution gives me pause because of some ambiguities in it. We're talking about, like you said, they're going to invoice us, and you say they're going to start construction in the next year. So I don't know when the invoice is going to show up. You say we've got 3 years to try to get together financing for $4.8 million. Section 4 says, in the event proper financing is secured.
Correct.
What happens if proper financing isn't
not
secured?
secured.
Then we would have to go back to basically with the council with this. So the state has low-interest loans that are for this very type of purpose. And so we've already started the process of applying for it. And so that's part of, I wanted to make sure that we could afford the payment and so forth. So we did the initial feasibility on it, and yes, it does look like with the interest rates, with everything else that we can. So basically, North Little Rock is looking for a commitment to us that we are doing our end, that we are applying for the financing, trying to get that secured, which we are expecting that we will indeed get that secured. But I also didn't want to tie our hands that if for some reason it fell through, then, we're not stuck in terms of, coming up with that $4.5 million when we were not prepared to. If that,
I think Section 3 and 4 both give us an out if the financing's not secured.
correct, which we do think it should be secure. We will be able to get it. Colleen and Scott have already started working and moving, filling everything out and so forth, getting everything together on it. But, it's kind of part of a process, so.
So, I mean, is there a reason though that we couldn't wait until the financing is in place and ready to move forward? Or is there, some emergency action that needs this resolution now? I mean.
Well, it's not exactly emergency, but North Little Rock is ready to move forward on this.
They don't want to pay for our engineering and our part of it if we're not committed to
Well, I get that.
securing the
but-
financing and so forth.
But
So,
North Little Rock's been talking about this for 2+ years. So, I mean, us coming at it, half-cocked, I think is probably, not our best move. If we can make sure our financing's in place, then, okay. But I mean, if not, then, I don't want to be stuck with something that all of a sudden we're having to grab money from elsewhere, if we can't get the financing we're looking for.
yeah,
Just my opinion.
which I understand, and that's why we put the Section 3 in there.
On the condition that we first obtain adequate and sufficient financing.
And that just says, and that says that the partnership is not approved unless we obtain the financing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not still gonna owe
Yep,
them,
yeah,
owe them costs incurred on
What?
behalf of our 52%.
Right, what if we don't? They're still gonna come after us.
For our 52, for anything they
Right.
spent on behalf of us for our 52% ownership.
If they do the engineering and what,
For the 100% of the project, and we own 52% of it.
right.
Yeah.
So if they only do, let's say they don't do all the project, excuse me, and they do the engineering and part of, whatever they do, and then we don't get the financing, they're still gonna come after us for what they've done, the engineering.
It's kind of like the
Wait.
basin part we had already this last year.
Do we know how, Colleen, do we have any idea, like, time frame or anything?
Well, if they went out and did work on their own without an agreement with us, I mean, I don't know there's much they can come after us for. But, I mean, again, I think having the financing in place, is gonna better serve us as a city.
Isn't there money in the fund balance in this group to fund this? But you don't want to deplete your fund balance, so you go out for some resources.
There's not currently in wastewater fund, there's not sufficient fund balance to fund this entire project.
What is
up front? Because it's, over $4 million.
$4 million.
Right,
So,
and it's not something that'd be appropriate to take out of the general fund that
Understand,
all of the city
correct,
contribute
yes, so if you're
to.
just looking at wastewater. So as far as the low interest financing through the state, from what we've seen so far and who I've talked to, they review the applications on a quarterly basis. So you submit your documents and then it's reviewed. So the next deadline, I believe, is at the beginning of July, and then the documents are reviewed then. So the timeline from when we found out about this to start researching, and this is kind of the next time that we'll be able to submit everything. So we can also look at public financing as well to see, comparable rates. But right now, with the state's low interest rates, the way to go about those loans is a little bit different of a process than what we've done previously.
Now, y'all know how frugal I am, so I did call Scott and Colleen today both on some of these items. If I read this right, they have a fund balance of almost $700,000. Is that right? And any part through this, we could stop. So if the engineering comes up and we owe them $200,000 or $400,000, and at least we have the engineering already done. Our part of the engineering's done. Correct?
I think that would be more of a question of how the agreement is worded. I don't know that I can answer that from a finance perspective.
Clayton's letter asked us to make a decision before June 4.
Yeah, we had received a letter from, and thank you for reminding me about that. The reason why it came before is because North Little Rock Wastewater had requested that we make a decision as to, is this the direction we want to go, or is this not the direction that we wanted to go? And they asked that we make the decision by June 4th. So that's why we brought it before the council right now. So, and I'm sure he's watching this, so as he watches all of our council meetings. Hello. So, that's why it came before you all in terms of now. I don't think that until the rate increase went into effect, this wasn't even an option. So that's kind of part of it and how this all kind of, it's not that it was one thing led to another thing, which led to another thing. And, I wasn't aware of the 2-year thing, but I understand that,
Oh, I
Councilmember
wouldn't say it's
Lilly.
exactly 2 years, but I
Yeah.
know it's been talked about for a long time on the wastewater committee, and so, no, I get it. $4.5 million out there, I mean, I think about it like, okay, so if we approve this in this form, and then the loans don't come through, have we in some other fashion agreed at a council level that we're moving forward with this and obligate ourselves to North Little Rock in this endeavor? I know you've got a Section 3 and a 4, I don't know how that plays out long-term.
Steve?
That would be a city attorney question, I don't know.
I believe that you're being very careful with respect to the question about financing. And the letter that Mr. Clayton,
There you
yeah,
go.
okay, the letter from Mr. Clayton asked for us to make this decision before the 4th, and I thought about that, and I thought about what the financing too. I didn't know until now that it's not going to be until July. So there could be an argument made that we've made a commitment and that we're going to have to figure out a way to fund it one way or another. So perhaps it might be better and more prudent to wait and to see if the financing comes into fruition.
I think we can certainly express that as long as the financing comes in, that we certainly want to do this.
We can, without a formal passage of some type of legislation, extend to North Little Rock our intention to do this project in the event that we can get all our ducks in a row on financing.
And certainly they can get the minutes of the council meeting of which we can attach. Is that the consensus? Does everybody feel that if we can indeed receive the financing?
Contingent on the funding.
I
Contingent
would,
on
I would
financing.
prefer that a great deal. I'll make a motion, we table this until such time as we get the financing.
And how,
But if we get the financing, you are,
Yes,
very comfortable with it.
very comfortable with it, right.
okay.
Absolutely.
So we have,
Have you already started on that, Ms. Colleen?
yes, we have already started on the
Yes.
financing stuff,
Yes.
yes. We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon to table it until we get an answer on the financing.
Second.
We have a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on, we have an ordinance amending existing regulations regarding fireworks within the city of Sherwood, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This has been read twice, but I believe we have
A friendly amendment.
friendly
To our own
amendments, so I'm
ordinance.
turning it over to Councilmember Williams.
We had several comments that were submitted in to me or to Mr. Cobb. And so Mr. Cobb and Chief Hager and I met last week or week before last and put those together. If you will find your copy that's redlined, I'll just kind of bring those
They're in the
comments.
back of the packet.
I'll just bring those. And I do want to acknowledge those residents who emailed me some comments. I really appreciate that because several of those comments, I think almost every one of them are implemented in here. So just want to thank you, those people that took the time to put this in. Under the use of the fireworks, several comments were talking about the dates. Why not just have it on July 4th was comment was made. We as a city had planned to do a July 3rd firework display. So it's almost like, you know, and we had it, originally it was like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We eliminated the 2nd completely. But if we as a city are having a firework thing going on the 3rd, it didn't seem to make sense not to allow that one to be included as well. So we changed that to just 2 days now, the 3rd and the 4th. We also still had, bottle rockets eliminated. The other thing is the concept of debris. One of the things that the chief talked about was that if Chief Hager's around here somewhere. Okay, make sure I don't misspeak for you. Okay, Chief. That's one of the things is that if he doesn't see you shooting the fireworks off, but there's debris all in your front yard, so someone there has been shooting the fireworks off. That's what that last part is. It says when the fireworks and fireworks debris are observed outside the allowed dates, like so if on the 6th there's all this debris out there, then you've been shooting outside the dates, then that's a violation.
All right, so what if, let me just ask this question then.
Okay.
So what if I'm mad at Beverly Williams and I go out and dump a load of firework debris on your yard
And then call in a complaint.
and call in a complaint? Whoops.
Well,
Just gave a bunch of people ideas.
if we write
Your house, Charlie. It's going to go to your house. You got a bigger yard.
so it's just like any state law or ordinance, there has to be, the burden of proof would be on us. So if we did write Ms. Williams a ticket in that instance, then it would be up to us to prove that she was the one that did it, and that would be a judge that would decide that.
My Ring camera would see Marina doing it, so it would not happen to me.
Well, and just to kind of explain the concern there is, for us, what happens is a lot of times we'll pull up and there'll be people standing in the street and there's firework debris out there. We can smell it in the air, but we just did not see them light them. And this just gives us the ability to enforce the ordinance is what the purpose is. It's not to be able to, the intent is to not write people tickets that are in their house. The intent is, so if we have evidence of them shooting off fireworks, that we're able to enforce it without physically seeing them do it, because that's where the problem comes in a lot of times for us.
Number 4, we had, in our original draft, we had the age of 16, did not have to have adult supervision, because the concept was if they're driving a car, then you think you're entrusted them with that vehicle. We had 16, but there seemed some feedback that 18 was a better age to not require adult supervision, so we changed it to 18, but as a suggestion. If you would go to number 7, you see on number 7, you see the red line there? We redacted what was there. What was there said that you could not, the intent was that we did not want a Sherwood Park to be a destination for you to go shoot your fireworks off in, okay? And by doing so, we had a parameter of like so many feet within a Sherwood Park. Well, some of the people right here on Oak Brook, who are right beside our new City Hall Park, could not shoot one, and they had just as much a right as someone over on Thornhill, but they were 100 feet with the city. If they stay in their own front yard, that's okay. So we redacted that 100 feet part and said they just don't make the city park your destination to go shoot it off in. Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. Question over there?
Okay.
Well, Kevin we have 2 copies and he just didn't get the right copy yet.
Okay. The other thing, again, this came from one of the patrons, number 8, the cleanup. We did say that the persons who do it, clean your mess up, and they said, but you didn't give them a deadline. No, so they can have all that debris out in the front yard, and I guess we don't really care about the front yard, but the streets, which is where a lot of it is, all the debris. And we don't have street sweepers, I don't think much. But, so just put a date. They said, give us a date. So we said noon on July 5th. So if you shot someone the 3rd, shot someone the 4th, either pick them up that night or by noon, July 5th. That could be changed, but that was an input that was given. Those are the 4 or 5 changes that were made from input, and the chief would like to know what your pleasure is.
I've had people contact me back when we first proposed this, and that were not in support, and it's kind of back and forth on, on social media, some in support, some not in support, and I can't support this ordinance, and I'll tell you why. I think it sets a bad precedent, because from the beginning, y'all's reasoning for this ordinance is we can't enforce the one we've got in place. And I think it's a bad precedent to say, well, let's just, since the police are having trouble enforcing the law the way we've got it, let's just change the law. Let's get rid of that law because we can't enforce it. And that's just a bad precedent to set, I think, number one. Number two, you're putting as many provisions in here for the police to enforce, putting more stuff in here for the police to enforce than they have now. Right now, all they have to enforce is don't shoot fireworks. You don't have to shoot fireworks in the city of Sherwood, period. Just don't shoot fireworks. Now, it's make sure you're 18 or older if you shoot fireworks. So they have to go around and figure out how old the kids are who are shooting the fireworks, and make sure it's between 7 and 10, so they have to make sure the time. They have to go around and find the debris on the streets that the police are shooting. I mean, there's all kinds of crap in here that the police have to do that they don't have to do now. Because right now, it's just, don't shoot fireworks. Just, they're outlawed.
I'll let Chief respond.
I find that it's silly to say that the reason we're doing this is because the police can't enforce it, and then put a whole bunch more enforceable provisions in the new law that they're going to have to enforce anyway, unless these are not going to be enforceable either.
We can enforce the ordinance. It has not been enforced. It hasn't been enforced for years. And my concern, and this was what I expressed to Councilmember Williams, my concern is the fact that we have not enforced it. The reason for the changes, and that's when I talked to y'all a couple of months ago, we are going to enforce it this year. So if zero tolerance is the will of the council, that's fine. I mean, we'll enforce it that way. It has just never been enforced before, and I can't, with a clear conscience, said I get phone calls on July the 4th, July the 5th, and people complain about, we have not, why are these people out here shooting fireworks? And they have a valid complaint. It is difficult to do it, and I would ask that you would consider, if you're not going to adopt this ordinance, I would ask that we change some language in the original ordinance to give us a little bit of help in regards to possession of. And I'm not talking about if you buy fireworks and you've got them in your car and they're packaged properly. I'm talking about if you're standing in your front yard and you have broken packages and there's debris in the street just because we didn't see you fire them. That's not a good enough answer to the complaints we get. We need to be able to do something about it, and that was the original intent. The reason that I approached Councilmember Williams about possibly putting in a couple of days with some designated hours that people could shoot them is because other cities that I talked to, they said that they had success with that. Now, I mean, I don't know if they have or not. I can tell you Little Rock and North Little Rock both have a similar ordinance to what we have, and they'll tell you that people shoot just like they do here. They're shooting fireworks all over the city, and they're not writing tickets. And there's only, in the surrounding counties, in the last 2 years, there's only been one fireworks ticket written in each of the last 2 years, and both of them were written in Sherwood, Arkansas. So nobody else is writing these tickets. And so but we're going to. I mean, if we're going to have an ordinance on the books, I feel obligated to enforce it. And so that's the reason that I brought it. And I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. If y'all want it to be zero tolerance, I'm fine with that, and we will enforce it that way. We've already spoken with the fire department. They're going to help us. And regardless of what the ordinance says, we're going to enforce it this year, so.
And I want to make it clear, too, before he became the chief, it wasn't enforced. Before I got into office,
I know.
it wasn't enforced. So you have this, we've had this compounding effect that we've had this thing on the book that has not been enforced in probably, I can't even speculate how long or if it was ever enforced. So I think.
We should have asked Ray Snyder when he was here.
There you go. So I think that the problem, as the city has gotten bigger and bigger, and with no enforcement, it has felt like overwhelming. So I think that that's been part of it. But certainly, we talked about it last year, and that it's like, it's just wrong to have something on the books, and then let's just turn a blind eye to it. Either we have it, we don't have it, we change it, whatever, but if we're going to have it, it needs to be enforced.
Well,
So-
some things in here like the fireworks that are attached to a stick, you know, other than catching someone with one of those in their hand or having them in their car or having them at their house, how would you enforce that? Because once they're fired, they're gone. There is no debris left from a bottle rocket or anything like that that's left at the location where it's fired. So how would you enforce a restriction against bottle rockets or fireworks on sticks and things like that? Because the debris is going to be in somebody else's yard where they didn't fire it. It's going to be, we're going to fire them all and aim them at Councilmember Williams' house.
We're going to do it to Beverly.
And land them in her
Yard
house.
and Big D.
The quick answer to that is that is a recommendation from the fire service, and that is in almost every ordinance in the state of Arkansas that bottle rockets are specifically
Oh, I agree.
banned.
They land on the roof
I
and
agree.
cause a
They
fire.
are bad, but I just don't
Cause
see,
a fire.
that's another thing about this ordinance. I don't see it as enforceable. I mean, and we're just creating more unenforceable, enforcement problems here than I think we're solving. And that's the reason I can't support this. So that's all I guess, all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple issues here as well. You know, I don't believe this council has ever been part of a no tolerance conversation about fireworks. I don't know what committee or circle that's been talked about, but it hasn't been here. But my concern, honestly, is really the way that this is written. July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, fireworks become legal in the city of Sherwood, and all the places around us where they're illegal. Guess where they're going to come to shoot their fireworks? I mean, they're going to come here. They're going to say, hey, I don't get in trouble if I go to Sherwood. And so those 3 nights from 5 to 10, the hours there are a little questionable as well. But, you know, we're going to get visitors from Jacksonville, Little Rock, North Little Rock, you know, Cabot, anywhere that's close to us that they don't allow fireworks. Here we go.
I did not
And
call,
I think that's going to create more.
on your
what
red
we have
line, that
today.
5 got changed to 7 PM to 10 PM. That was so, it's 7 PM to 10 PM on your red line copy.
Okay. But
And
I
only 2
do think that we open up the doors for communities around us to come to Sherwood when the real ask is that they not be shot at all.
They're coming to Sherwood anyway, according to the chief, and they're shooting anyway, according to the chief.
Well, they're shooting them in Little Rock and North Little Rock too.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
not, I mean, anybody that lives here, I mean, you hear them, they're shooting them.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're gonna, and like I say, I mean, we're going to enforce it this year, so, and I'm not, you know, I don't like them either. I go to bed early, so, I'm not a big fan either. I was just trying to find some middle ground, and I'd reached out to some other cities that had changed that legislation, so, and I just offered it up as a something for y'all to consider. Whatever you decide, that's what we're gonna enforce, so.
Well, I appreciate you trying to work out something, but my correspondence I received was from pet lovers that said, you know, it's their pets, that was hard on their pets for, of course, it's happening anyway, but if you allow it, it's gonna make it worse. And, because it's just gonna give a license for them to do it. Number one, and then number two, of course, I've had several veterans contact me, saying about PTSD and that type of thing. So, I, also just cannot support this, so.
Chief, I mean, I assume, obviously, you were part of helping to direct or guide on this ordinance. And through your conversations with some of the other cities and things that have something similar to this, that went from a no tolerance to something like this, what has been, I mean, this what I'm trying to say is, I guess I'm deferring to you. You seem to think this would be more readily enforceable than what we already have. What about the other cities that have something like this? Have they noticed somewhat of a difference?
According to them, they have, but I can't verify that. I mean, you know, two in particular, Cabot and Searcy, that I talked to, they both said that it eliminated their problem, but I can't. I don't live there. I can't verify that, so.
Well, I can see where it would reduce the calls they get on the days that they allow it, because there's no laws against it.
Right.
I mean, so they wouldn't get any calls. You know, any calls outside of the allowable times or days, you know.
And Cabot and Searcy aren't suburban areas that abut up, you know, right next to other cities so much.
They butt up to rural
They
areas.
butt up to rural areas, yeah, so that they're not gonna have, they don't butt up to cities that, where they have no tolerance. So they're not gonna have the type of problems you're talking about, where North Little Rock and Little Rock people are gonna come into their city when it comes time to shoot fireworks, so.
Well, Chief, I want to thank you for putting this thing together too, and listening to you talking about your people not having something to enforce. I'm all for this council coming together and putting something together to give you some meat, like you were saying, in the ordinance that we do have. Because when I was sworn into office, my big thing is I want to listen to what the people are saying to me, and I'm like everybody else. What I really heard was a lot of people saying they didn't want it. So that's my big deal with the way I'd have to vote if this came down time for us to make a decision on it. But I do want to give you something so that you can go out and enforce the laws that we have.
Yep, I appreciate that. And like I say, I'm not telling you that this is gonna fix the problem. That's the reason.
Yeah.
But I just felt obligated, and it's like I told y'all before, I felt obligated based on the fact that I'm going to direct our folks to enforce this year, and I just wanted to bring this to y'all and let y'all have the discussion, and I think it's been a good discussion, and no hard feelings for me. I mean, I just wanted it to be out there for y'all to discuss, and like I say, we'll enforce it however
We want to
you
give
want
you
us to do
something.
it.
So maybe next month, we can bring something to the council to amend the current ordinance to make it easier.
Yeah,
to
if
enforce?
the will of the council is to leave it as it is, then I will meet with the judge and ask him what he would want to see from a probable cause standpoint that he would be comfortable with, that we could.
Because that's what you were needing, was the probable cause
Yeah,
piece.
and just know it will need an emergency clause, saying that up front, because we won't have enough time to get
I
through.
make a motion, we table this one.
Okay, that's what I was fixing to ask, and I'll second.
Yeah, and I would also say that the little bit of advertisement, you know, on our city website and in any Facebook pages that the city operates that says, we're not tolerating fireworks, I mean, I promise you that'll help. I mean, when people, you know, like you said, when you've had years of not enforcing it, they're, you know, they kind of, you know, turn their nose at it and think, you know, oh, well, you know, but if you put fresh advertising out there that says, hey, we're going to be enforcing our rules.
We're gonna be
then-
serious
Then
this
they're
year.
going to, people are going to pay attention. Not everybody, you're going to have that person, or those people.
I dare you.
But it'll help.
Well, I do think, Chief, you need to be complimented, just asking this to be brought for the conversation. I don't care that people on Facebook were against it or for it, whatever, but the thing is they were talking about it.
True.
And then whatever we bring back, because we still have, I mean, this is just whatever month this is, Marina.
May.
We've got June next month.
Well, that's a good point you bring up,
Yeah.
Councilman Williams. I mean, I think that's the beauty of the whole thing. This is where we're supposed to talk about these things and make decisions for our community, so, yeah, thank you for doing
Just
that.
fail for a motion, because
No, this-
table means it could come back.
I just think we table it indefinitely.
Just table it, and then we can,
Table it, and then something that's been handled. So, motion to table.
I'll second.
Indefinitely, okay. We have a motion to indefinitely, okay, to put in there, to table it indefinitely from Councilmember Harmon, and a second by, I'm sorry, was that Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Next up, we had, oh, I'm sorry, would you want to say what the,
The motion passed, 7 yes. Councilmember Broderick absent.
sorry about that. Next up, we have an ordinance approving the use of eminent domain for acquisition of needed property for Jacksonville Cato Road Improvement Project and for other purposes. Ron, if you'd like to come up.
At the last meeting, I had asked that we add a list of the properties, and I think that list of properties is included in our
Yes.
packets. And so now I'd make a motion that, did you say that's referenced in here?
Yeah, in the new version, section 2.
Yeah, okay, in the new version, section 2 references the list of properties.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that we substitute the new version of this ordinance for the version that's in the agenda, and then add that'll be adding that list of properties.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Harmon, a second by Councilmember Thomas for a substitution.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
An ordinance approving the use of eminent domain for acquisition of needed property for the Jacksonville Cato Road Improvement Project and for other purposes. This is now the first reading.
I have a question about the new section 2, the part that we just got added.
Yes, ma'am.
The listing of the properties required for the project. We don't, I mean, these are the only projects that are going to be required to have this.
We can't,
We don't, what I'm trying to say, and I'm not saying this well, sorry. We don't know if we're going to need eminent domain on them or not, but these are just the properties that we need to work with to get access to.
at this time, property, it's one property.
Yeah, but there's
This-
like 28 plus on here, I mean, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
All these
No, we wanted to
properties.
list, this is
I'm
all the
sorry,
properties that
yes.
are needed for acquisition for
Yes.
the project.
Yes.
And rather than do these piecemeal, we wanted to give the council all of the information, saying that we're negotiating for the purchase of all of this property, but if we need, time runs out, and to avoid delay of construction, we need the council's blessing for eminent domain.
I understood that. I just want to make sure these were the only properties that we could ever discuss and possibly do it to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was my point.
And as of right now, we're only looking at one property.
Okay.
So just to make that clear. That is a last resort, and we do not take that lightly. It's been read once.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on second reading.
We have a motion by
Second.
Councilmember Brooks and a second by Councilmember Harmon. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Did I say it correctly? No, it's fine. An ordinance approving the use of eminent domain for acquisition of needed property for the Jacksonville Cato Road Improvement Project and for other purposes. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place it on third and final reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
An ordinance approving the use of eminent domain for acquisition of needed property for the Jacksonville-Cato Road Improvement Project and for other purposes.
I have one question. Under section 2, it says if it becomes necessary, is that decision made by the engineer or by whom?
Which section?
Section 3.
2, when it becomes
That-
necessary.
That would be a combination of the project people telling us we've gone as long as we can go
Okay.
without the acquisition of the property.
I just want to know who the decision makers were.
We will depend on them to tell us as the project's going, and then the attorneys will make the decision to file the action.
Thank you.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Brooks. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
The motion passes with 7 yes, Councilmember Broderick absent.
Next up, we have a resolution reappointing Janine Cotton to serve on the Sherwood Audit and Financial Affairs Committee. Janie Cotton, excuse me.
Move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Brooks. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Broderick. Williams.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Motion passes 7 yes, Councilmember Broderick absent.
All right, we have anything under old business? There being none, new business? Under announcements, we've got the pools open May 25th, and they are in great shape. May 27th, we've got city offices will be closed to celebrate Memorial Day. May 29th, we've got the blood drive at the Bill Harmon Recreation Center from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. June 1st, we have a fundraiser adoption event for the Sherwood Humane Animal Shelter at Fort Thompson Sporting Goods, and that's at 5802 Warden Road. On June 5th, we've got a senior citizen breakfast at 8:30 a.m. This is in lieu of the normal luncheon, so please take note of that. June 14th, we've got a splash bash at the Duran Youth Center from 6 to 8 p.m. Also, on June 14th, we have Educator Appreciation Day at the Sherwood Pools, free admission with valid school ID. June 19th, city offices will be closed for Juneteenth holiday. June 20th, we have our next concert in the park. This one will be featuring Midnight South, which will be country music from 6 to 8 p.m. If you have not attended one, I cannot strongly recommend you come out and join. It is so much fun. Also, two things that were not listed I need to note. We have our Special Olympics torch run will be May 23rd. That will be coming through Sherwood, and it'll begin at 11 a.m., so be on the lookout for that. And then everything is set up for our July 3rd Balcony Blast fundraiser, so it can be found on Eventbrite, and that is will begin at 6 p.m.
I have an announcement.
Yes, ma'am.
So Keep Sherwood Beautiful is back doing yards of the month again. So if everybody keep a lookout for yards in your area. Our next yard of the month will be for this month in May, needs to be turned in by May 24th, this Friday. But we'll do them all year long through September, so keep an eye out in your area. You can turn it in on Facebook under Keep Sherwood Beautiful. And we also do one for the business of, if there's a business you see in your area that's nice. Not that I want to promote any certain business, because I think we should do that, but Keel Avenue Animal Clinic won last month, just as an example. They have beautiful roses and everything out front. So anyway, I want to give that as an example. So if you see a nice business out there, it's got beautiful flowers or something.
And I think it's a great idea to highlight businesses too.
Yes.
With pretty landscaping, so thank y'all
Yes.
for doing that.
Yes.
We do not have anyone signed up for public comments, so at this time, do I have?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Councilmember Brooks and a second by Councilmember Harmon.
We did it.
Thank you. My hey dudes.
Snazzy.
You got any hey dudes yet? I don't have any hey dudes.
Oh, okay.
Here, see how heavy these are.
Not at all.
Hey dudes, I love you. She's doing much better. She's recovering. She's in quite a bit of pain. She's doing okay.